So in this episode of Lessons Learned, we're going to talk about blade awareness. So blade awareness is something that a lot of people don't really maybe understand, or they don't take the time to practice. We want to start looking at how we hold our paddle, how that paddle will interact with the water, how we change the pitch, how that will change the outcome. Will it create lift? Does it create support? Does it move the boat? Those sorts of things. So it's really important when we start looking at blade awareness that we understand how we hold our paddles, how that interacts with our sets of different knuckles. So when we hold our paddle, our actual paddle shaft will be oriented obviously parallel to our knuckle, but our blade at the very end, the power face of that paddle, regardless of what kind of paddle you paddle with, it's actually going to be parallel with this aspect of your knuckle. So when we start thinking about how we control that blade, we can actually do that by changing the orientation of our elbows, as well as the way that we allow that knuckles to lead the paddle through the water. So there's lots of different exercises that we can do to focus on and work on blade awareness. One exercise that I do quite often and get people to think about is a thing called a box stroke. Now, I borrowed this from a canoe instructor a long time ago, and it's a maneuver that you can use to manipulate your kayak in a very small, confined bit of water, so that you can actually make the boat pivot. So you can see an example here of allowing the boat, using the blade and the pitch of the blade in different positions, to actually maneuver or turn the actual kayak. We can see an example of here someone in the surf going from a forward surf to a low recovery or low brace to look for stability. You can see another example of here working on inside edge turns with bow rudder incorporation. So using the edge as well as the actual pitch of the blade to help the boat finesse and carve a turn on the inside edge. So when we start thinking about holding and manipulating that paddle, there's lots of different things that we can do. Now, the pool is a great place for us to practice these things in sort of the off season, depending on where you live. So any activity where you can go out and figure out how that blade slices through the water, how it provides support, how you can manipulate it to get it into a whole bunch of different positions, is all useful stuff. So when you can master that in a flat water or sort of a pretty controlled environment, then you can start incorporating it into your more dynamic paddling and use it in more dynamic waters. So when we're out and we need to transition from a forward stroke to some bracing or support, maybe we're rock gardening and we have to allow the boat to manipulate and turn around rocks or around a feature, or we're just trying to move the kayak with minimal effort, as well as being able to keep the momentum. So I encourage you to get out there and have a go at this. Just play with the paddle, play with how it supports, slices, working on a whole bunch of different orientations of that paddle, so that you can understand for the next time that you're head out into the water, and you can start incorporating blade awareness into your everyday paddling. I hope that you found this Lessons Learned episode helpful, and we'll see you on the water.